You're listening to Big World Network.
Subprimeval, Episode 2, Ground Zero, Part 2. Written by Robert S.C. Cutler. Read by Ryan Jones. Warning: although there is no material subject matter within that couldn't be found in any general bookstore with no age constraint, this series is rated 18 and contains adult situations and content. Nguyen, grab an M4 and aim it at the port side door, Major Wallace ordered. When I slide it open, blast those ugly bastards back to hell. Nguyen did as ordered, clicked off the safety, and aimed. Freakshow hurried to the back and out of the way while Wallace counted silently to 3, then slid the crew door open. Nguyen emptied his magazine into 2 of the creatures. An arc of spent bullet casings flew up through the air. A mixture of gun smoke and atomized blood filled the Black Hawk's cabin. "They're scattering," Captain Jones yelled from the cockpit. "But there are still more on the starboard side." "Same thing, opposite door," Wallace said as he made his way to the other side of the cabin. "This time wait until I'm completely out of the way before you start firing, Captain Nguyen." "Whatever you say, sir," Nguyen grinned while changing clips. As Wallace pulled the door open, Nguyen opened fire, knocking off 4 more of the creatures, spraying Wallace in the face with bits of flesh and bone fragments. The creature on the horizontal stabilizer let go and scurried away, allowing the pilot to lift the Black Hawk off the ground and climb at a steep rate. "Look at them all," Jones exclaimed as he brought the helicopter around. "Must be over 100 of the devils." "That's more than we figured on. Way more," Freakshow said. "Is it too late to call off the airstrike?" Nguyen asked Wallace. "There are plenty of fresh specimens down there. I would hate to miss this opportunity." Subprimeval. "Don't worry. I have a feeling we'll have more than ample opportunity to harvest as many of the... Written by Robert S.C. Cutler. I have a feeling we'll have more than ample opportunity to harvest as many of these things as we want." Warning: although there is no material subject matter within that couldn't be found in any general bookstore with no age constraint, reflected off this series is rated as the missile found its contains adult situations. The Black Hawk shuddered as the projectile erased any trace of the cabin. "Nguyen, its occupants, grab an M4 and aim it at the port side door," Major Wallace ordered. At a small outpost, when I slide it open, blast those ugly bastards back to hell. And 2 of the post's mechanics Nguyen did as ordered, around the helicopter, clicked off the safety, assessing the damage, and aimed. Freakshow hurried to the back loaded and out of the way while Wallace counted silently to 3, then slid the crew door open. Report. Nguyen emptied his evidence bag on the outgoing transport, Captain. An arc of spent bullet casings flew up through the air. "Yes, sir." A mixture of gun smoke and atomized blood filled the Black Hawk's cabin. "On board and ready to go." "They're scattering." "Did you confirm the weather forecast with the control room?" "But there's still more on the starboard side," Nguyen responded sharply. "Same thing, opposite door. No need to be short with me, Captain," as he made his way to the other side of the cabin. "I know how to do my job, wait until I'm completely out of the way before you start firing, Captain Nguyen." Placed it in his satchel. "Whatever you say, sir, for being willing to leave you behind, changing clips." Nguyen dropped as Wallace pulled the door open. Nguyen opened fire, knocking off 4 more. The army doesn't leave soldiers behind, Wallace especially in combat with flesh and bone fragments. Wallace drew in close. The creature on the horizontal stabilizer let go and scurried away. "This is not a military operation. We get paid well and are rewarded often. And if anyone becomes a liability or endangers a mission, that person will be terminated. Must be over 100 of the devils, including myself." "That's more than we figured on. Is that clear enough for you, Captain Nguyen?" Freakshow said. "No, it's not, sir. Is it too late to call off the airstrike? You had ample time to help me out of that ice field before those things converged on us. There are plenty of fresh specimens. Whether I made it to the helicopter on my own opportunity." "Don't worry. I have a feeling we'll have more than ample opportunity to harvest as many of the... If you hadn't, I would have left you. Don't worry. I have a feeling we'll have more than ample opportunity to harvest as many of these things as we want. If I were you, I'd be more focused on the future than on the past. It would be a real shame if you were killed before you could enjoy all that money coming your way." As the missile found its target, Freakshow walked up to the Black Hawk, shuddered as the projectile erased any trace of the cabin. "He's getting paid? Why aren't I getting paid?" "Free room and board plus all the army rations you can eat. What else could you ask for?" Captain Jones and 2 of the post's mechanics as he disappeared walked around the helicopter, assessing the damage. "You're really getting paid?" Captain Nguyen loaded extra ammunition and supplies, while Major Wallace manned a laptop. "How was the agency able to goad you into this job?" "Is the evidence bag on the outgoing get-out-of-jail-free card?" Wallace asked Nguyen as he loaded the duffel bag into the back of the helicopter. Nguyen replied. "Plus they're paying for all of my schooling. If I survive the next 2 years in the field." "Did you confirm the weather forecast with the control room?" "Sir, yes, sir. Clear skies all the way up." Just don't turn your back on Major Wallace. No need to be liable to put a bullet in your head. I'm just making sure it would make him look good. I know how to do my job, Major. Nguyen snapped. Captain Jones flew the Black Hawk close to the stark, frozen landscape. You're still pissed at me for being willing to leave you behind in the Arctic Ocean. Nguyen dropped a box of ammunition sat in the co-pilot's seat, pointing an infrared scanner. The Army doesn't leave soldiers behind, especially in combat situations. Today's forecast is snow and rocks with a chance of more snow and rocks. Make no mistake, Captain. As he took his gaze away from the small screen, this is not a military operation to give his aching eyes a break and are rewarded often. Captain Jones laughed. And if anyone becomes a liability or endangers a mission, that person will be terminated. And for my next questions asked, I'll pull an icicle out of my butt. Is that clear enough for you, Captain Nguyen? He sighed and rubbed his eyes. No, it's not, sir. All I see is you had ample time to help me out of that ice field before those things converged on us. Whether I made it to the helicopter on my own or not, Wallace yelled from the aft end of the back on Nguyen and walked away. He stepped away from the window. You did make it, Captain. And grabbed another infrared scanner. I would have left you. Case. A simple judgment call. Fly over to that small island, Jones. Bad judgment, if you ask me. There's something down there that doesn't quite look right. If I were you, I'd be more focused on the future so me and Junior Agent here can get a better read. It would be a real shame if you were killed before you could enjoy all that money coming your way. Is that smoke? Freak Show looks like something's on fire down there. A duffel bag full of supplies. I've got yellow and orange on my screen now. He's getting paid? Why aren't I getting paid? Steam. Free room and board plus all the Army from volcanic activity. What else could you ask for? Set it down if you can. Wallace laughed as he disappeared 25 yards from what looked like a fissure. Captain Jones found the only level piece of ground on the small island and landed. And you're not? Wallace ordered Freak Show to goad you into this job and threw Freak Show a rappling rope. They gave me a get-out-of-jail-free card. What's this? Freak Show asked as he loaded the duffel bag into the back of the helicopter. You and Captain Nguyen are going to check out that big hole out there to make sure there aren't any boogeymen hiding in the field. I think we're wasting our time. The main nest looked like it was back there where we just don't turn your back on Major Wallace. They wouldn't be able to survive. He's liable to put a bullet in your head, said Nguyen, if it would make him look good. Wallace put his head in his hands and breathed out Captain slowly. Jones flew the Black Hawk close to the stark, frozen landscape just behind his eyes, the northern shoreline of Boothia Bay and the Arctic Ocean. He wanted to scream at both Freak Show and Nguyen in the co-pilot's seat, but couldn't gather up enough strength scanner out the side cockpit. Over the past 5 years, there have been reports of missing crew members from ships, with a chance of more hairless Bigfoot roaming the shoreline. Freak Show mumbled. A sharp decline in the wild away from the small screen and one distress call from a Russian trawler that was never heard from again. All within 20 nautical miles of where we are right now. Is that enough proof for you, Captain Nguyen? I'll pull an icicle out of my butt, Freak Show declared. Nguyen just stared back and rubbed his eyes. He wanted to tell his superior officer to screw off. He protested in Major Wallace's general direction. Wallace wouldn't think twice about shooting him in the face and dumping his body out from the aft end of the cabin. Nguyen knew it. He stepped away from the window. Quit wasting my time with all your damn questions and get your asses down that hole already. Fly over to that small island, Jones. There's something down there that doesn't quite look right. Freak Show and Nguyen rolled ski masks down their faces. Hover about 30 feet above so me and Junior Agent here can get a better read. Zipped up their parkas. They each grabbed an out of the window at the island, and Nguyen picked up a black plastic case. Looks like something's on fire down there. Oh, Wallace covered his yellow and orange on my screen now and turned away in anticipation of the biting cold wind that was going to come rushing through the maybe from volcanic activity, Wallace said. Set it down if you can. The fissure wasn't treacherous 25 yards from what looked like a fissure. Captain Jones found the only level piece of ground on the small carved-out tunnel landed. Wallace ordered Freak Show and Nguyen to gear up before moving forward into the dark tackle. Each took a flashlight off of their equipment belt and scanned strong beams. You and Captain Nguyen are going to check out that big hole out there to make sure there aren't any boogeymen hiding in it. I think we're wasting our time. It's warm, the main nest looked like it was back there where we just came from, Freak Show said. They wouldn't be able to survive here. There's no food, said Nguyen. Yeah, I feel it. Wallace now zip your jacket back up and breathed out slowly. A sharp, steady pain Freak Show sitting just behind his parka, making him feel nauseous. Don't you remember why we're here, Agent Shore and Nguyen? It's not for screwing around. Couldn't gather up enough strength. I saw what those things are capable of. Over the past 5 years, there have been reports of missing crew members from ships, sightings of a hairless Bigfoot roaming the shoreline, by his father, a sharp decline in the wildlife population, and one distress call from a Russian trawler that was never heard from again. They tore my sister's boyfriend apart so badly, the police had to use dental records to identify you, Captain Nguyen, or should I go on? Let's stay focused so we don't end up like him. Nguyen just stared back at Wallace, pausing to turn on his infrared scanner. He wanted to tell his superior officer to screw off, says it's 84 degrees but didn't trust the man. Wallace wouldn't think twice about shooting him in the face and dumping his body out the door. Nguyen studied the M4 carbine slung over Freak Show's shoulder. Quit wasting my time with all your damn questions and get your asses down that hole already, Wallace ordered while rubbing his temples. Freak Show said. Qualified a couple of months ago when I was stuck in that boot camp in somewhere West Virginia. slid on a
Not
pair
the
of
best
snow
shot,
goggles,
but I could
and
hold
zipped up
my
their
own in a
parkas.
firefight if need be.
They each grabbed an M4 carbine.
If we
and
run into
Nguyen
one of
picked up
those
a black
things, the
plastic
only
case
fire in the
containing the
fight will be
tranquilizer
us
gun.
when we blow it away.
Wallace covered his
Nguyen
own head
laughed.
with the hood of his parka.
I read in the
and
mission
turned away
report
in
that someone had
anticipation of the
theorized
biting
these things
cold
were like
wind
real-life
that was
demons.
going to come rushing
They could
through
trace
the
their
crew door.
existence all the way back to before Christ.
The mouth of the
Freak Show
fissure
shook his
wasn't
head.
treacherous or
Actually,
narrow,
they're
but
probably
smooth,
animals that were
with a
thought to be
gentle
demons
incline,
way back in
leading
Mesopotamia
downward into
due to
what
their
appeared
vicious
to be a
nature.
carved-out
They kind
tunnel.
of butchered my report.
Freak Show and Nguyen studied
wrote
its
the
structure
report?
before
Nguyen
moving
asked,
forward
surprised.
and into the dark.
Yep, that was me.
Each took a flashlight off of their
Freak Show
equipment
stopped in
belt
his tracks
and
and
scanned
knelt
strong
down.
beams
Lying
straight
on the
ahead
ground was
and
a
down
man's
onto the
silver
sloping
ring
floor
with engravings on its inside
Do you
surface.
feel that?
He
asked
twirled it with
Freak
his
Show.
fingers and then studied
Feel
the
what?
letters.
It's warm,
Cyrillic.
dude. It's like a freaking sauna
Did you
in
just
here.
say Cyrillic?
Freak Show said.
Freak Show squinted
as he unzipped his
concentrated on the
parka.
letters. Yeah, seems to be
I
Russian.
feel it.
Now zip your jacket
Nguyen
back
took
up.
the ring from
Nguyen
Freak Show's
ordered.
hand.
What a
Pretty smart,
killjoy.
kid. It
Freak
is
Show
Russian.
pouted as
But
he
what's
zipped his
it doing
parka
here?
as ordered. Look at your
Don't
scanner.
you remember
It's
why
all
we're
orange
here,
and red,
Agent Shore?
Freak Show said. It's not for screwing
Nguyen
around.
unzipped his parka halfway.
I saw what those things
Temperatures
are
risen
capable
10
of.
degrees.
They're aggressive.
Oh my God, dude, zip up your jacket.
Freak Show mocked.
Feeling like he was being lectured
Nguyen
by his
shushed him
father
and pointed
Freak
ahead.
Show's happy
The
demeanor
narrow
turned
hallway was
solemn.
starting to widen into a
I know
bell
how
mouth.
deadly they are.
The sound
and
of
I've seen
rushing
what they
water
can do.
resounded off
They
of
tore
the
my
rock
sister's
walls.
boyfriend apart
The
so
pungent
badly
smell of rotting
the police had to
garbage
use dental
slight at
records to
first
identify
was
him.
becoming increasingly
Then
stronger.
let's stay
with each
focused
step
so we don't
forward.
end up like him.
Nguyen
The
said,
passage turned
pausing
abruptly
to
to the
turn on
left.
his infrared scanner.
Nguyen glanced back toward
Says
the
it's
sunlit
84
entrance,
degrees in here,
which appeared tiny and
Too
miles
hot for these
away.
damn jackets.
He calculated
Freak Show
that
muttered.
uphill it would take
Nguyen
over a minute
steadied
to
the
run
M4
out.
carbine slung over
He held
Freak
up his
Show's
hand,
shoulder,
signaling Freak Show to
chuckled.
stop. Do you even know
Get
how to
that
use
gun
that
off of your
thing?
shoulder and be ready, Nguyen said.
Yeah,
I'm
Freak
going
Show
to look
said.
around the corner.
Qualified a
and see
couple
if
of months
any
ago when I
individual
was
heat
stuck in that
signatures
boot
register
camp
on
in
this
somewhere
thing.
West Virginia. Freak Show had
Not the
already
best
stopped
shot,
and
but
was
I could
staring
hold
at
my own
something
in a
illuminated
firefight
by
if
his
need be.
flashlight. Lying
If
against
we
the
run
wall,
into one of those
a few
things,
feet ahead,
the only fire
where the
in the
upper
fight
skeletal
will be us
remains of
when
a
we
man
blow it away.
wearing a Russian naval
Nguyen laughed.
peacoat. I read in
The
the mission
pelvis and
report
leg
that
bones
someone
were a
had
couple of
theorized
feet
these
away,
things were like
crushed
real-life
and
demons.
gnawed on. They could trace their existence all the way back to
dude.
before Christ.
What are you doing,
Freak
kid?
Show shook his
you
head.
need to cover me.
Actually,
complained
they're
before he
probably
caught
animals
sight
that
of
were
what Freak
thought to
Show
be
was
demons
looking
way
at.
back in Mesopotamia.
Get that
due to
goddamn
their
gun off
vicious
of your
nature.
shoulder now.
They kind of butchered my report.
Is he fresh?
He
He doesn't
wrote
look
the
fresh to
report?
me.
Nguyen asked,
Freak Show
slung the
surprised.
gun from his
Yep,
shoulder and flipped
that was
off
me.
the safety.
Ready,
Freak Show
Chief.
stopped in his tracks and knelt down.
Nguyen eased
lying
the
on the
infrared
ground was a
scanner around
man's
the
silver
corner,
ring
painting
with
it
engravings
left
on its
and
inside
right.
surface.
His
He
heart
twirled
felt
it with
as
his
if it
fingers
skipped a
and then
beat.
studied the letters.
The taste of fear filled
Cyrillic.
his mouth. His body
Did you
became
just say
cold
Cyrillic?
and drenched in
Freak Show
sweat.
squinted, concentrated
Several
on the letters.
images, washed
Yeah,
in hot
seems
white,
to be Russian.
milled about on the small monitor.
Nguyen took the ring from
He
Freak
removed
Show's
his own
hand.
M4 carbine.
Pretty smart, kid.
And looked
It
through
is
the lens
Russian.
of the night vision
But
scope.
what's it doing here? Just on the other side of
Look
the
at your
wall
scanner.
from where they were
It's all
standing
orange and red.
was a cavernous
Freak Show
room
said.
carved out by a
Nguyen
glacier.
unzipped his
and
parka
partially
halfway.
sealed off by ice.
Temperatures risen 10 degrees.
A rapidly moving
Oh my
river
God,
split
dude,
the
zip
room
up your
almost
jacket.
down its center.
Freak Show mocked.
Momentarily interrupted by
Nguyen
a
shushed
dam
him and
created
pointed
by
ahead.
the missing Russian
The narrow
trawler,
hallway was starting
and
to
then
widen
continued
into
on
a
through
bell
an
mouth.
opening in the rock.
The sound of rushing water
Crawling
resounded
over
off of
in
the
and
rock
around the
walls.
ship like
The
cockroaches
pungent smell of
scurrying on
rotting
a garbage
garbage
counter.
slight at
For
first,
well over
was
100
becoming
of the
increasingly
creatures.
stronger with each step
How
forward.
in the hell did that thing get
The
in here?
passage turned abruptly to the left.
How did what get where?
Nguyen glanced
Asked
back
Freak
toward
Show.
the sunlit entrance.
That Russian boat
which
the Major
appeared
was rattling
tiny
about.
and miles away.
We need to leave.
He calculated
leave
that
now.
uphill
Nguyen
it
said
would
in a
take
loud
over
whisper.
a minute to run out.
Demons?
He held
Yeah,
up his hand,
a whole crap
signaling
load of
Freak
them.
Show to stop.
Nguyen said as he keyed his
Get
radio.
that gun off of your shoulder
Base.
and be ready.
Survey team
Nguyen
said,
"Come in, base.
I'm going to look around the corner.
We're too
and see
far
if
down
any
to get a
individual
signal.
heat signatures
Maybe we
register
should
on
just
this
leave
thing."
and then tell them about it in
Freak Show
person."
had already
Freak Show
stopped
tugged
and
on
was
Nguyen's
staring at
jacket.
something illuminated by his
Nguyen
flashlight.
shushed Freak Show and tried to call
Lying
in
against
one
the
more
wall,
time,
a
but
few
only
feet
received
ahead,
static in
were
return.
the upper skeletal remains
right.
of a man.
We're too far
wearing a
down to get a
Russian
signal.
naval peacoat.
Let's pull back.
The pelvis and
Mere
leg
feet
bones were
away,
a couple of
a
feet
soft
away,
cooing echoed
crushed
off of the
and
cavernous
gnawed on.
passageway. Startled,
Captain
Nguyen
dude?
hit the trigger of his M4.
What are you doing, sending
doing,
a small
kid?
burst
You
of
need to
lead
cover me.
flying toward
Nguyen
the controller
complained.
before he caught sight of
Through
what
his
Freakshow
scope,
was looking at. Every creature stood
that
frozen,
goddamn gun off of
looking
your shoulder
in Freakshow
now.
and Nguyen's direction.
Is he fresh?
What
He doesn't
seemed
look
like
fresh
an
to me.
eternity, Freakshow
Both
slung
men
the gun
held
from
their
his
breath,
shoulder and
waiting
flipped
for the
off the
inevitable.
safety.
Ready,
Moments
Chief.
after the burst of gunfire,
Nguyen
the cavernous
eased
room
the infrared
erupted
scanner
into
around
a
the
deafening
corner,
chorus
panning
of
it left
screeching and right. Freakshow and Nguyen
His
took
heart
off
felt
running
as if it skipped a beat.
The heavy
The
clothing
taste
and
of fear
equipment both
filled
men
his
were
mouth.
carrying made it
His
near
body became
impossible
cold
to accelerate
and
uphill
drenched in sweat.
and maintain any type of speed.
Several images,
Keeping
washed
hold
in
of his
hot
rifle,
white, milled
Freakshow
about on
removed
his
his small
jacket
monitor and released his
He
utility
removed
belt,
his own
holding
M4
his sidearm,
carbine,
ammo
and
clips,
looked through the
radio,
lens of the night
rope
vision
and tackle,
scope
and infrared scanner.
just on the other side of the wall.
Nguyen
From
hesitated,
where they were standing,
then did the same
was
with
a
the
cavernous
exception of the
room
case
carved
carved
out
out
by a
tranquilizer
glacier
gun and partially sealed
What are you
off
going to
by
do with
ice.
that?
Freakshow asked
A
Nguyen
rapidly
as the
moving
captain
river
removed
split
the
the
gun
room
and loaded
almost
it with one
down its
dart.
center. I'm going to bag and tag one of those bastards.
Dam created by
You mean
the
it's gonna
missing
bag
Russian
and tag
trawler,
you?
and then continued on
Nguyen
through
stopped
an opening
and
in the
turned to
rock,
face whatever was heading up the tunnel.
crawling
While
over
Freak
in
Show
and
kept
around the
going.
ship like cockroaches
He steadied
scurrying on a
himself,
kitchen counter,
aimed,
and
were
prayed
well
he would
over
hit his
100
target
of the creatures.
Instead of coming up in small,
How in the
staggering
hell
groups
did
like
that
he
thing get
imagined
in
in his
here?
head, Nguyen found himself
did what
facing
get
a
where?
massive herd
Asked
running
Freak
at
Show.
him with blinding
That Russian
speed.
boat the Major was
In a
rattling
panic,
about.
he dropped the
We need to
tranquilizer
leave.
gun and
We need to
fumbled
leave
with his
now,
M4.
Nguyen said in a loud whisper.
Running backward, he shot off
Demons?
several bursts
Yeah,
and
a
then
whole
turned to
crap
head
load
for
of
the
them.
exit, Nguyen said. His
As he
vision
keyed his
compromised
radio.
from the dark.
Base.
Nguyen
Survey
stumbled
team.
trying to
Come in,
adjust
base.
his balance to the slanted floor.
We're too far
and
down
fell
to get a
face
signal.
first.
Maybe we should just leave
As
and then
Freak
tell
Show
them
reached
about
the
it in
mouth of the
person.
tunnel, he heard
Freak Show
Captain
tugged on
Nguyen
Nguyen's
yelling for
jacket,
help, screaming for
Nguyen
mercy.
shushed Freak Show
and
and tried
then
to call in one more
nothing
time.
at all, but only received static in
Turning,
return. He saw Nguyen
You're
being
right.
piled on
We're too far
by
down
no
to get a
less than
signal.
20
Let's pull
creatures.
back.
One by
Mere
one,
feet away,
they broke
a
away
soft
from the
cooing
pack,
echoed
with
off of
bits
the
and
cavernous
pieces of his
passageway.
fallen colleague. Startled, Captain Nguyen
Several
hit the trigger
dozen
of
more
his
of the
M4,
creatures spied
sending a
Freak Show
small burst
standing
of
at the
lead
entrance
flying
and
toward the
started
trawler.
sprinting his way.
Through his scope,
Wide-eyed and full of
every
adrenaline,
creature stood
Freak Show
frozen,
opened fire,
looking in Freak
exhausting
Show
his
in
clip.
Nguyen's direction. He threw the gun down and ran
What
as
seemed
fast
like
as
an
his legs
eternity.
could take him,
Both
all the way
men
back
held
to the
their breath,
Blackhawk.
waiting for the inevitable.
Major Wallace held him inside
Moments
and
after the
signaled for
burst of
Captain Jones
gunfire,
to take
the
off.
cavernous
room
"Where's
erupted into a
Nguyen?"
deafening
asked
chorus of
Jones.
screeching. But then his question
Freak
was
Show
answered
and Nguyen took
when he
off
saw
running.
over 200 of the
The
creatures
heavy clothing
pour
and
out of the
equipment
mouth
both
of the men
men were
fisher
carrying
like
made it
hornets
near
from a
impossible
nest
to accelerate uphill.
and maintain any type of speed. Keeping hold of his rifle, Freak Show removed his jacket and released his utility belt, holding his sidearm, ammo clips, radio, rope and tackle, and infrared scanner. Nguyen hesitated, then did the same with the exception of the case holding the tranquilizer gun.
What are you gonna do with that?
Freak Show asked Nguyen as the captain removed the gun and loaded it with one dart.
I'm gonna bag and tag one of those bastards. You mean it's gonna bag and tag you?
Nguyen stopped and turned to face whatever was heading up the tunnel, while Freak Show kept going. He steadied himself, aimed, and prayed he would hit his target. Instead of coming up in small, staggering groups like he imagined in his head, Nguyen found himself facing a massive herd running at him with blinding speed. In a panic, he dropped the tranquilizer gun and fumbled with his M4. Running backward, he shot off several bursts and then turned to head for the exit. His vision compromised from the dark, Nguyen stumbled trying to adjust his balance to the slanted floor and fell face first. As Freak Show reached the mouth of the tunnel, he heard Captain Nguyen yelling for help, screaming for mercy, and then nothing at all. Turning, he saw Nguyen being piled on by no less than 20 creatures. One by one, they broke away from the pack with bits and pieces of his fallen colleague. Several dozen more of the creatures spied Freak Show standing at the entrance and started sprinting his way. Wide-eyed and full of adrenaline, Freak Show opened fire, exhausting his clip. He threw the gun down and ran as fast as his legs could take him, all the way back to the Blackhawk. Major Wallace held him inside and signaled for Captain Jones to take off.
Where's Nguyen?
Asked Jones, but then his question was answered when he saw over 200 of the creatures pour out of the mouth of the fisher like hornets from a nest.
Music by Kevin MacLeod.
You're listening to Big World Network.